The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Viewer discretion is advised. In 5, 4, 3, 2, live now. Oh my God, I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, buddy. Everything's the same. Like trash.com. The best of the business. Say it to money. That's the listen to This is the Final Idol, and you're listening to Trash Talking Radio every Tuesday from 7 to 10 on TrashTalkingRadio.com. And remember this, the Final Idol tells you it's got to be true. And when it's on the internet, it's got to be real. It's Trash Talking Radio every Tuesday from 7 to 10. I am the top of pound, the king of swing, the international rock star, way above par, the host with the most, Mr. Tuesday Night, the Final Idol, Classy Mike Trash, and thank you very much. I am Classy White Trash, and I'm here all by myself today, as it were, as it would be, as it will always be. Wait, all the way messed up. Why'd I do that? Let's try this again. Let's put it back where it belongs. Let's try right there. Nope, that's not it. Right there? Nope, that's not it either. Darn. I can't do this. Wait a minute. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Just was a little early. There we go. Hey. All right. How's everyone doing? I am flying solo today. And, that's kind of fun, and it's been a long time since I've been flying solo, so you'll have to bear with me because I'm doing this all by myself and I didn't tell anybody. Huh. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. I probably should have told people. Well, we'll see if they show up. If they show up, they show up. If they don't, they don't. You know, it is what it is, and I don't care. So, got a lot of stuff to talk about today. I got all kinds of interesting things that are from the bizarre to the current events and stuff like that. And we're going to start in just a minute. I got to get my pages set right here so that we're ready to go. So I'll just talk while I'm moving, and then you'll never know it. You'll never know that I wasn't quite ready. Doug had to call off today, so we're going to do this by ourselves, like the old days, you know. So, where will we start? I guess we could start with the entertainment as we usually do, and have one death to report, and it was a last-minute death. That was rude of them to die the last minute, because, I need some time to get these things together. But they don't ever think of me. They just go and die on their own fruition, and then I have to scramble to decide what to do. So the first person, or the only person that died will be doing this. Okay, so we will, oh wow, let's go have that last week one. Hold on here. Gotta figure out where I put it. Well, Norm died last week, so shouldn't be him. He should be gone. I wonder what happened, how I got him there again. Well, it doesn't matter. All right. Let's get this thing going. All right, first thing we'll do is we will cut this down, and we will move over one, and we will do this. I don't see his. Wait a minute, hold on. Gotta figure out why.
Rick Derringer.
Whoa. Now I gotta make it big. All right, now we'll start over again.
Born on August.
Up. There we go.
Rick Derringer. Born on August 4th, 1947. Died May 26th, 2025. He was an influential rock guitarist, singer, songwriter, and producer. Passed away peacefully at the age of 77 on May 26, 2025, in Manor Beach, Florida. His wife, Brenda Derringer, and close friend and caretaker, Tony Whitman, were by his side at the time of his passing. Derringer had undergone a triple bypass surgery in March and appeared to be recovering well before experiencing a sudden medical episode that led to his hospitalization and subsequent passing. Born Richard Derringer Monroe, Derringer catapulted to fame at just 17 years old as the lead singer and guitarist of the Utilities. Their 1965 hit, Hang on a Sleepy, scored some Indian Billboard Hot 100, marking the beginning of a prolific career. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, Derringer collaborated with blues legend Johnny Winters, joining the band Johnny Winters. He later became a member of Edgar Winter's White Trash, contributing to the acclaimed live album Rover. Derringer's solo career was highlighted by the 1973 release of All American Girl, featuring the enduring rock anthem, Rock and Roll, Hoochie Coochie. The song became a staple on classic rock radio and solidified his status as a guitar virtuoso. Beyond his solo work, Derringer was a sought-after session musician and producer. He lent his guitar prowess to artists such as Steely Dan, Alice Cooper, Cyndi Lauper, Barbra Streisand, and Prince. Derringer played a pivotal role in the early career of Weird Al, Yankovic, producing his debut album and subsequent releases. His production work on Yankovic's series, including Beat It and Fat, earned him a Grammy Award. Rock Summer Magazine. In 1985, Derringer co-wrote and performed Little American for the World Wrestling Federation Selection Album. Initially intended for the top 10 U.S. Express, the song gained iconic status as both Hood and Houston teams. Its patriotic tone led to its use by various political figures, including Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Donald Trump. In the 2000s, Derringer explored smooth jazz and toured with Ringo Starr's All-Star Band, showcasing his versatility as a musician. Rick Derringer's career spanned 6 decades, leaving an indelible mark on rock music through his performances, collaboration, and production work. He is survived by his wife, Brenda. Funeral and memorial arrangements were months in 20 days. His contributions to music continue to inspire generations of artists and fans alike. He will always be remembered for his swift guitar riffs and unique sound. He now joins the fellow guitar heroes in an all-star rock and roll band with the likes of Eddie Van Halen, Prince, and many other greats of Heavenly Rock Festival.
So there you go, Rick Derringer. Man, I just didn't know that he did all the places that he did, and I didn't have any clue that he worked with Weird Al, and didn't know that he uh, was actually in that pop band either. That was kind of weird because I never would have imagined. I always kind of associate him with hard rock. So when I found out he worked on that, what was it, the pop song, it kind of threw me for a loop because I never saw that coming. Never realized he was doing that stuff. Uh, can't remember where's that? Yeah, Hang On Sloopy. I never would have imagined he did that song because that just didn't sound like the guitar riffs that I'm used to hearing. So he caught me off guard with that. So other than that, I didn't even realize he was 77. That was kind of threw me for a loop too. I thought he was closer to his late 60s or something. But yeah, it is what it is. He had a good life. He got to produce a lot of good music, and yeah, it's a shame. But anyway, so I'm flying solo today because Doug had to babysit, and so we're just going to pretend that he's here or pretend that he's not here. I don't know, one or the other, and see what happens. But this was the first time I've been without him for a long time. So let's go on. Let's see what else we got. For birthdays, we've got really only a couple. And he wouldn't have known a lot of these, he wouldn't have known who they were. So we're going to go through and put them. I can't get this thing to. It doesn't want to work for me. Okay, hold on. I got to get the screen to move over. So, there we go. All right, here we go. First person. Well, I think I'm going to skip the first. I'm going to come back to the first person. First person on that I'm going to talk about is Pam Grier. And I knew that name from somewhere, and I didn't know why I knew that name from somewhere. Did you feed the dogs? No. It's a weird question to ask a talk show host if he fed his dogs. But, yeah. Oh, wait, what's going on here? It's opening an email. What? Wait a minute. Okay. So Pam Grier, she was a star back in, how long ago was that? Well, she was 76, so she was a star a long time ago, and she was one of the first people of color to, or women of color, I should say, to be prominent in the. Let's see here. I got to figure out what can I'm gonna make this box bigger because I can barely read it. Of course, that could be because I'm old. Doggone it. It's trying to open Outlook again. All right. See if I can get this out of here so that doesn't work. I've got to stop that from opening the Outlook. All right. I need to make this bigger so I can read the text. Okay. There it goes. All right. She was the star of Quentin Tarantino's films, I should say. They call it blaxploitation icon. Rose to prominence with performances in films like Coffy in 1973, Foxy Brown. That was what she was really known for. At least that's what I knew her for. Where she portrayed a strong, assertive woman. Diverse filmography included films such as Escape from L.A. in 1996, Mars Attacks in 1996, Jackie Brown 1997, and Larry Crowne in 2011. So that's some of her accolades. So I knew the name, but I couldn't place where I knew the name from. So I had to do a little research on her. But I think it's kind of cool. But where's there it is. Can't find the delete. So she's 76. Joan Collins is 92. Miss Melissa McBride. If you're not into The Walking Dead, you don't know who she is, but she just turned 60. Drew Carey turned 67. Joel turned 51. Lauren Hill of, what was the name of her band? Oh, I can't remember her band. There you are. There is she. Can't remember her name, or remember the band name. The Fugees, okay. Lauren Hill, she turned 50. Bobcat Goldthwait turned 63. And I didn't even know he was still around. That's really a name I haven't heard in a long time. He actually didn't age too bad. Let's see here. There he is. I remember he was a hot deal back in the day. Man, I used to watch his stuff and his comedy specials and stuff like that, and his movies. And I like the stuff he did. But I mean, after a while, it gets kind of old because he, that weird yelling out at the last second and stuff. That kind of stuff got old. But I kind of thought he was okay. He was all right. His real name is Robert Francis Goldthwait. So he is really, Goldthwait is his real last name. I don't know why he would make that up, but, in case you wondered. But he's 63. And then I believe the last one here, the last one is Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz, man. I wonder if is he still married to that one Cosby kid? I don't know if he is or not. But, yeah, he was married to her anyway. Let's take a look. Let's find out if he is still married to her. Let's see. Okay, you should open that. Come on, open up. Yes, he is. He's still. Oh no, he was married to her till 93. So I guess it was 87 to 93. He turned 61. So I thought he was. Yeah, I guess that's about right. I was thinking he was older than that. But anyway, that's our birthdays. So we'll get done with that. Get done with him. Get done with her. Get done with her. Okay, we got a picture of the day too. I forget what I put. Oh, what did I put? Oh yeah, I just left that up. All right, so that's our birthdays today. And oh, wait a minute. Don't want to delete the stuff I didn't do yet. All right. Let's see what else we got. Oh, now I need to go the other way. Go the other way. There we go. All right. Let's see. All right. So we can watch. Wonder how many people just. Do you remember Back to the Future? We have some auditions from Back to the Future. I thought that would be kind of interesting to watch. Let's see if we got it. There we go. We have that. Let it go. There we go. Guess we can watch that on YouTube. This should be interesting. Casting took place in several months in 1984. 1984. That, geez, 41 years ago. Can you imagine? I guess you have to. You don't have to imagine. You can actually see it. Let's see what we got. I have not watched this, by the way. So let's find out what this is all about. Billy Singh as Biff, so he's playing Biff, the bully.
hi, Grandpa, how's it going? I'm sure you said it before. I never told me either. Well, yeah, if you did, I thought you wouldn't mind if I just stopped in for soda. Yeah, it's what it cost you, friend. Well, I'm sure that. Well, how much do you know? How much good? About 50 cents. How much I want?
That's funny. So, Billy Zane was awful at that. I guess he was young, too. I mean, now he's a lot better. Let's see, who else? We got Dom DeLuise as... Yeah. No. Oh, Peter DeLuise, that's why. Peter DeLuise is Biff Tannen. Let's see what that is.
That's cool. No, I know. I know what. Of course, I know what you get kicked out of.
Boy, that wasn't good at all. But then again, these guys, I mean, that was 40 years ago, so I'm sure they're all better now. Well, they're all better now. Kirit Sedgwick as, let's see what she was. Jennifer. I guess that was the girlfriend.
You're good, Marty. You're really good. And in addition to the rest is great, you guys seem to like the company. Yeah. For that, I'm going to say. For that, I mean, okay, well, I got all of the oh, geez. But when they say all our emotional anxiety comes from our parents.
Now, Steve Thomas Howell, he turned out to be a pretty big star. See how he was in 40 years ago? As Marty McFly.
No, I don't know, it's just, somebody doesn't like it. No, but my parents continue with she's so nervous. And you put that. Yeah, I was wondering how my dad would have. Well, you should do it. Why not? Well, it's just not healthy.
Just not healthy, that's good.
Right. Stop being such a square.
Yeah, stop being such a square. John Cryer as Marty McFly. Now that would have changed the whole thing because he was Superman's foe in what was it? He was yeah, I can't remember the bald guy's name. That'll be Lex Luthor. He was Lex Luthor.
How about if we talk for a few minutes? How do you think I would mind that? Well, I don't know, some doctor. No, I was 13 years old. It's not like I was fighting for.
Well, I don't know. John Cryer's a pretty good actor, but like again, 40 years ago, that wasn't necessarily his best performance. Ben Stiller is Marty McFly. That's, whew, I can't imagine. It's got to be interesting.
And when do you come to the conclusion that I don't know anything that happens? I maybe some nervous. I've never been in a situation where, well, you know you have to act in a certain way, but when you get there, you're not sure you can really go through with it. Something wrong with this, sort of.
I actually think he would have been, other than the fact that he doesn't play guitar, he could be a pretty good Marty McFly. I mean, he has the nervousness that Marty had and all that stuff. But I can't imagine anyone else as Marty McFly because, you know, he did such a good, what's his face, did such a good job. So that's that. I thought that would be kind of interesting to watch. We also got, okay, this film review for the $6 billion Man. Now, it's not what you think. I thought when I first read that it was going to be like $1 Million Man revised, but it's not. They're talking about the persecution of Julian Assange, freaking Julian Assange. I can't remember how you pronounce it, but the film from the maker Why We Fight focuses on 14 years of the WikiLeaks founder spent confined to an embassy in London and a London prison. So if you weren't really familiar with the case, he had released some information that was supposed to be kept secret, but it was important information that everyone needed to know. So I can't remember how to pronounce his name. Assange. Can't pronounce it. I forget how to pronounce it. Julian. But anyway, it was a big deal. I guess they have this movie about him now. At that point, the WikiLeaks founder had been holed up for 6 years in the Ecuadorian ambassador the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where he faced imminent arrest by UK authorities. It's then we learned how the first Trump administration offered via the what is that? IMF to loan Ecuador's government $6.5 billion if they agreed to kick Assange out. Assange. I wish I could remember how to pronounce his name. The move is not exactly shocking, especially coming from a deal maker like Trump, and it shows how much the U.S. authorities were willing to pay so they could nab one of the most wanted men. I mean, I don't know. I don't feel he did anything wrong because he just, it's a controversial thing and everyone has their opinion on it, but I believe that he was set up to, because this is stuff that when you hear the information of what he told us all, it was stuff that was pretty far out there, but it was true. Much of Jarecki's jam-packed information 2-hour feature, which premiered as a special screening at Cannes, focuses on the decade-plus legal roller coaster that Assange, I think it's Assange, I think it's how Assange focused his team on committed lawyers were obligated to take. The film can get a bit repetitive during all those scenes at the embassy, but which is not the most cinematic of locations, but we do grasp the sense of a confinement and growing paranoia that Assange experienced for years on end. Technically, he wasn't in jail, but his life was under house arrest. The first half of the $6 Billion Man gives us some of the backstory leading up to that point, showing how Assange rose from an unknown Australian hacker to worldwide hero of freedom of journalism to public enemy number one, especially for the American government. Founded it in 2006, his tiny startup WikiLeaks became a phenomenon. The next year, when Assange was released a video called Collateral Murder, unveiling leaked footage of a U.S. Marines massacring Iraqi civilians. Jarecki includes a long excerpt which is as disturbing now as it was back then. In the years that followed, the site dumped thousands of redacted documents online, including military logs, diplomatic communications, and lots of nasty emails between members of the Democratic National Committee. This was a promising time for the internet, which I remember this. I remember how controversial it was and how they tried to paint him as a bad guy. And he wasn't a bad guy. He was just leaking information that was kind of important. I mean, the United States wasn't necessarily a good guy there, the good guy. So I understand why He's won it. Would you rather not know? A bearded Edward Snowden explains, presumably from Moscow, referring to all the information that Assange was offering up free of charge. But that period would be short-lived, especially when the U.S. struck back against many compromising documents WikiLeaks was putting out to the public. The fight with the Pentagon only ends in one way, is what one interviewee tells Jarecki. And the rest of the movie shows how the government desperately tried to land Assange behind bars, leaving him no option but to take political asylum in only place he could get it. Jarecki is no stranger to the abuses of U.S. power, especially in the features like The Trials of Henry Kissinger and Why We Fight, that focused on the disastrous American foreign policy from Vietnam War and the war in Iraq. In the opening sections of his new doc, he does a good job contextualizing the importance of Assange's work, which aired lots of embarrassing, not to mention criminalizing dirty laundry under the administration of both Obama and Trump, neither of whom come off as good guys here. Enough happened in those early WikiLeaks years to fill in an entire series, requiring Jarecki and his team of 4 editors to condense tons of material until they get to the heart of the matter for them, which is Assange's 15 years of legal hell in England. So that's I actually would be interested in seeing that. I think it would be pretty interesting. But I guess it's really a matter of where they're going to release it. I don't know if they're going to get it released in the United States or not. But if they do, I'd like to see it. So, close this too. And we'll close that too. Come on. There we go. Oh, I had a... No, I guess I closed it by accident. I had a picture of the day. I guess I don't now. Kind of sucks. I'm going to, I forget what the picture of the day was, though. What was it? It was a, I don't remember what it was. Oh, well. All right. I think next time I've got to put the picture up here so that it comes up like it's supposed to. That way I don't have to look for a picture every time. I was trying to organize myself on my cloud, and that didn't happen. Okay, let's see here. I can put a new picture up because I got no pictures now. Let's see what we can put up. There was something I had up there, and I just must have closed it by accident. Let's see. What can we put up? I guess I can put that up. I'll leave that up. Wasn't what I wanted to put up, but no, it'll do. All right, next. Okay. There's a tragedy. Oh, I hit the wrong button again. Damn it. All right, here we go. Close this so I don't have to worry about doing that again. All right, now we'll close this like we were supposed to close it. See, when I'm here alone, I got to do everything. And I can't always see what I'm doing. All right. There was a plane crash in which the drummer and music talent agency owner killed in a San Diego. This happened in San Diego, California, in the streets. So this plane crash, there was a private jet. It was flying from, I don't know where, but it was supposed to land at a little airport outside San Diego. And the guy crashed the plane. And I watched a video on what they thought happened. They didn't have a clear answer as to why that plane crashed, but it crashed in the streets. So all these cars and stuff are basically melted metal now. And I think the only people that died in it were the were the people on the plane. So David Williams, the former drummer of the band The Devil Wears Prada, and Dave Shapiro, the owner of the Sound Talent Group, were among those killed in the crash in San Diego early Thursday morning. According to the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, the total number of fatalities is unknown. It's probably known by now, but I think it's 6 or 8 people. There were 6 people on board, and I think there might have been 2 more people that died. But it's such a shame. But fortunately, they landed in the middle of the night, so fortunately, no one or very few people were out to be killed. But it was a pretty bad accident. Although, nobody's. I think they didn't hit any houses, or if they did, it was very minimal damage to the houses. Well, to the houses, yeah. Just before 4 a.m., the plane crashed into the Murphy Canyon neighborhood, the largest neighborhood of Navy-owned housing in the country. It was foggy weather. The crash set at least 1 home on fire, and various vehicles on the street ignited as well. Several people were also injured on the ground while trying to flee the crash scene, while others were treated for smoke inhalation. This was put in my notes around Friday, so I'm sure there's an update on that. But it's still such a tragedy. I mean, imagine being in your house and thinking everything's fine, and then all of a sudden, crash. It ends up being a plane on your street. There is really a sad situation. Where's the rest of the article? Where's the freaking... Oh, my articles are shifting down. Okay. There was an article here that I wanted to find. Okay, I know where it is. Okay, so during the Sean Combs trial, Kid Cudi, I guess that's how he pronounces it, the Grammy Award-winning rapper was dating Cassie Ventura at the same time as a disgraced mogul who's on trial for sex trafficking and racketeering in New York. He's in really serious condition. I mean, nothing short of a pardon is going to get him out. I can't imagine him being not guilty at this point. All the things that came out so far have been so bad. And the things that came out recently, it says here, rapper and actor Kid Cudi testified Thursday that he believes that Sean Combs was behind the bombing of his Porsche in 2012, and that the mogul trespassed in his Los Angeles home after the fallen rap and fashion icon learned that both men were romantically involved with the singer Cassie Ventura, who we heard from last week when she was talking about the things that he did to her. Kid Cudi, whose real name is Sean damn it. I hate when these ads pop up out of nowhere. Whose real name is Sean Mescudi, took the stand Thursday in Combs' sex trafficking and racketeering trial in Manhattan, where the mogul's team of attorneys is defending him against a federal prosecutors who alleged that in a 5-count indictment that he created a criminal enterprise to facilitate his abuse and exploitation of women, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. Combs is accused of acts like sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. He pleaded not guilty and said he is innocent of all crimes of which he is accused. Somehow I kind of really doubt that. Prosecutors called Mescudi as they tried to show the jury how Combs used his employees as a means of controlling women and using his financial and business resources to carry out a violent attack. Wearing a leather jacket and white t-shirt, the rapper told the court that he met Ventura, who was then signed to Combs' Bad Boy Records in 2008, and they became friends until they began dating in 2011. She had led him to believe that her relationship with Combs was over. In December of that year, he received a phone call from Combs' assistant, Capricorn Clark, who said Combs was inside his Hollywood Hills home with an associate, and she'd been forced to go with him. He testified that he decided to drive home, and on the way, he phoned Combs, who calmly told him, "I want to talk to you." But Combs was nowhere to be found when Miss Goody got home, and however, wrapped Christmas presents left out had been opened, and his dog, who was left to roam the house, was shut into the bathroom. Miss Goody testified that he called the police to report the break-in. Weeks later, in January 2012, Miss Goody was at a friend's house when he received a phone call from his dog sitter that his Porsche 911 was on fire in his driveway. His evidence of a slit in the fabric roof of the sports car was shown to the jury. The rapper testified that a Molotov cocktail was discovered on the front seat of the Porsche, which was damaged beyond repair in the incident. Do you think he did it? I would say there's probably a good chance he had something to do with it. In the marathon testimony last week, Ventura told the court that Combs had threatened to blow up Miss Goody's car and physically injure him when he learned that the two had been romantically involved. The day after the Porsche was bombed in his driveway, Miss Goody went to meet with Combs to smooth over the situation. I'll tell you what, if someone bombed my car, I don't know that I'd do that. I think I'd be trying to do, I don't know, it just seems strange that I'd be afraid to go anywhere near him. After the fire, I said, "This is getting out of hand. I need to talk to him," the Grammy winner rapper told the court. But Combs denied any involvement. "What are you going to do about my car?" Scuddy told the court. He asked Combs, who he testified that he gave him a very cold stare and said, "I don't know what you're talking about." Scuddy said, "I knew he had something to do with it," which jurors told him to disregard after Combs' lawyers objected to the comment. Years after the incident, he told the court, Miss Goody ran into Combs at a hotel. When they spoke, Combs apologized for everything, but he did not specifically mention the attack on the car. While cross-examining Miss Goody, defense attorney Brian Steele painted Ventura as romantic two-timer who played Miss Goody against Combs as she had been living a double life. Ventura testified that last week that she was still seeing Combs for freak-offs and using a burner phone for her relationship with Miss Goody. You know, Ventura is not exactly innocent in this thing, and it seems kind of strange that she would, be involved in a situation like this. But I don't know her, and I don't know anything about her, but I don't think that she's exactly innocent in this situation. Because if she's out there playing the field, or at least playing him, it wouldn't be a good thing, especially with Combs, knowing that the Combs guy is as dangerous as he is. I'd be a little worried about it. I mean, if I was dating somebody and I found out they were dating someone else, and I was the second person they were dating, that would be a problem, I think. Even if I was the first person they were dating, that would be a bigger problem, because then she'd be cheating on me, but she actually was cheating on both of them, so I don't know. I just think it's kind of scummy that she would do that and put him into a situation where he was between the two of them. Especially knowing how demented he was, or is. So I just kind of think that it's partially her fault for the situation of the car being burned up. Steele asked if Miss Goody, if he was aware of that female DNA was found on his wrecked Porsche by his police. who investigated the incident. He told the court he had never heard anything regarding the findings of the police investigation. I don't know. It's a dangerous thing to play with him. I mean, a lot of those rappers, though, they play the tough guy card, and you never know what you're going to get. You never know if they're going to actually be a thug or just a lot of talk. But from the things we've seen about Combs, he didn't have any issues inserting his power on people. So I don't know. The whole thing is just so weird to think about. So I'm pulling another image up because I closed it again. Huh. Although it doesn't. Oh, there we go. We got guitar playing Lincoln. And there's another picture. Oh, come on. Give me a good picture. Okay. This is the final one. Oh, yeah, I know. That was the one I used. That was the one that I had saved. So we'll do that one. All right. Well, maybe not. All right. There we go. That's the promo. Now we'll just stop it when it comes up. Come on. And it's just not going to go. There we go. All right. Oh, classy like trash, and thank you very much. Real. It's Trash Talking Radio every Tuesday from 7 to 10. I am the top of pop, the king of swing, the internet. There we go. Move it there. All right, now, next. What will we talk about next? How about, we did the Rick Derringer thing. I just finished that Rick Derringer thing like minutes before the show started. So, you're welcome. Anyway. This is interesting. Okay. So, recently, Trump had talked about freezing the Harvard grants and giving the money away to someone else and giving the money to trade schools instead. Now, I am all for that because schools like Harvard have plenty of money, and the grants that they're giving to Harvard, if that was given to trade schools, that would help a lot more people that are in need of it. So I really think that would be a good thing. I think that if he were to give the money to trade schools, it would help a lot of people that can't afford Harvard. Because for the most people that go to Harvard, I would think that there are a lot of people that would like to go to Harvard but can't afford it. But it'd be good to take it and give it, especially for a school like them, because they already have billions of dollars of money to spend. But it says here on Memorial Day, President Trump has not forgotten his beef with Harvard. Trump is weighing transferring $3 billion in federal grants from Harvard to trade schools. That would be awesome if they could do that, because then there are people that are going to trade schools that could have grants and stuff like that could actually help people that are in need of help. I think it'd be interesting. I think that would be a good way to use that money. In a memorial post to Truth Social, Trump said he's considering taking away the money from the anti-Semitic Harvard and giving it to trade schools all across our land. Instead of having one school get billions of dollars, give a bunch of schools pieces of that billions of dollars. And that would be, I think that would be a great thing. I think that would be something that, what are you doing? Lay down. Lay down. I got a dog here and it's bothering me. Lay down. You think you're getting something because you're down here? There's no. If I can't trust you, why would I give you money or give you a treat? Hmm? I gave you 2 treats before I came down here, and what did you do with them? You went and ate them. Well, you should have saved one for later. So anyway, I think that would be a good deal. He called the transfer a good investment. It's badly needed. Enrollment in trade schools and technical training programs on the rise. Trump's post on the latest escalation has his fight with the Harvard. The war began, well, we know that it began a while ago, so I think that would be a good idea. I think that would be an awesome idea. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if he follows through on that or not, but um, I think it would be interesting. I think trade schools would be a good place to spend the money because the people that go to those schools don't have a lot of money. If they had those grants to give away, it would be a good thing. So there we go. This next thing is really sad, and actually it is sad because not only is it a horrible thing to happen to somebody, but it it's horrible that it happened to this particular person, and that would be Billy Joel. So Billy Joel apparently had to stop his tour because he has a brain disorder diagnosis. And let's see if I have a link here I can click. Maybe this one. Billy Joel's wife thanks fans for love and support after his brain condition diagnosis. The wife of musician Billy Joel thanks fans and after he had to cancel concert dates. Now I saw him in concert probably about 6 times, and I love Billy Joel. I appreciated him more after seeing him in concert because I don't know, just a live. There's really an interesting thing when you hear it on the radio or you hear songs on an album or something, and then you see them in live, and you think, oh, that really was awful. That's not the case when it was Billy Joel. Billy Joel is probably just as good, if not better, live than he is on his albums. I liked songs I didn't even like when I heard him on the radio. I liked him when I heard him live. The guy's awesome, and I really felt bad about him having to cancel those. And he got to play. He played once a month in Madison Square Gardens. I mean, that is just unheard of. No one's ever done that. But anyway, it says Billy Joel's wife thanked fans yesterday for the outpouring of concern and on his brain condition impacting the musician's hearing, vision, and balance. The 76-year-old singer was recently diagnosed with normal pressure hydrocephalus, a disorder causing cerebrospinal fluid to build up around the brain, impacting its function. The condition becomes more common with age, found in 0.003% of the people under 65, but 5.9% of the people above 80. It can be caused by a variety of factors, including a brain tumor, head injury, or infection. Billy Joel will undergo physical therapy to treat the condition, which is reversible. It is reversible. That's good. He's canceling all planned concerts through July 2026, so basically taking a year off. Joel's among a cohort of older musicians who continue to tour later in life. Musicians over age 60 made up 4 of the 10 highest grossing acts last year, grossing collectively over $844 million. I want to be one of those people, but that's a whole other situation. Actually, well, after this story, I'll tell you that. Billy Joel's been, concerned about his situation as he should be. And it says here the condition, under doctor's instructions, Billy is undergoing specific physical therapy and has been advised to refrain from performing. Where'd it go? There it is. From doing his recovery. Billy's thankful for excellent care and he's receiving and fully committed to prioritizing his health. That's a good thing. We know that he's not one of those guys that says, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And he actually is listening to those people. He added, I'm sincerely sorry to disappoint our audience and thank you for understanding. I mean, it's not like he needs the money. He's not doing it because he needs the money. He's doing it because he wants to share his music. And someone like him, I mean, he could have quit playing a long time ago, but I just think he likes to play. And that's the big deal with him. I totally get that. I mean, I love playing. There's probably nothing in this world that I like more than that. And yeah, I can relate to that. So I want to get that'll lead into the next thing. So I'm in this band. Been in this band a year. The one guy in the band is very dry with his humor and hard to read. I can read a lot of people. I can read the majority of the people that I need to read. But this guy's a little harder to read. So that being said, I just try to stay out of trouble, try not to cause any issues with him. And because he's the leader of the band, I just kind of take a back seat. This is the first band that I've been in that I haven't had a leadership role. Well, no, that's not true. 2 bands ago when I was trying to decide whether or not I wanted to stay with this one band, I wasn't in control of that either. But really, it's the for being as long as I've been there, not to be in control of the band, I've been taking a back seat and letting him kind of make the decisions and suggesting some stuff, suggesting some songs and things like that. And I couldn't tell if he liked me or not, because I mean, he kept a very business relationship with me for the most part. Not all the way through, but for the most part. So we were practicing Sunday, and things were going okay, and things were going as usual. I mean, everyone else is joking around. He's being himself. It's not a problem. I just didn't know how to take it. And so we were taking a break on one of the sets, and he said, hey, can I talk to you for a few minutes? I said, yeah, sure. And I thought, this is either going to be one of 2 things. He's going to either ask me to change, or he's going to tell me that while we were not practicing the past 4 weeks, he replaced me. And I thought, man, I hope it's not that. I hope he just reams me out for something and he's, and I hope that was it. Well, it wasn't either of those things. He said, yeah, I wanted to talk to you about music. And I said, okay. He said, well, I've got this side project going that I'm working on. I said, oh, really? Okay. He says, I'd like you to work with me on it. And I was like stunned. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I didn't see that coming. And so we're going to get together on Wednesday nights. And we're going to work on music. I'm so excited about that. I said, you don't know how much I need this. It's never been about money for me. I mean, even when I was destitute and didn't have any money, it's always been about the art for me. And the fact that he wants to write music with me, is a good sign. It means he respects what I do. And I respect what he does. He's a really, really, really top-notch guitarist. Maybe the best guitarist out of all the guitarists I've ever played with. Maybe. And if not the best, he's probably number 2 if he's not number 1. And I've heard his stuff. I don't remember. I mean, I listened to it a while back. I don't remember exactly what it sounds like. I probably need to listen to it before I see him tomorrow. But the fact that I'll have someone to write with makes me feel happy. It means I can actually maybe start doing music originals again. I mean, even if it's not in the band, just to do something like that. Because I really like the idea of being creative. It's one of the reasons I got into acting, because I could be creative. One of the reasons I wrote some scripts is to be creative. I've written some songs on my own, but really for the most part, I don't play anything, so that means that there's going to be a limited amount of projects that I'm going to do. I mean, I can do some music, but I'm not proficient at it. So we're going to meet tomorrow for the first time, and I will keep people posted on that. And I really am looking forward to it because, like I said, I really respect him as a musician, and I'm looking forward to actually creating new music. I've got a lot of things I could write about. I mean, I don't know what off the top of my head, but it makes me happy to know that I will be able to have that creative outlet again. And yeah, that makes me really good. I mean, I'm really happy about that. So, all right, next topic. Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch. And Mission Impossible 8 blew up Memorial Day box office. I can't believe we're up to Mission Impossible 8. Christine and I started watching them because she's never watched them before. She's only watched one, and we watched Mission Impossible 7, which was 2 summers ago. We watched it because that's when it came out. And so we started watching 1, and we're up to 3. Well, we watched the first 3, and it was pretty cool. But we're going to watch number 8 by the time, once we get caught up with them. I actually am watching them all over again, and I don't remember a lot of what went on during that. So it's interesting to watch them again. And I didn't know they had 8 of them, and I saw 7 of them. And so I remember bits and pieces of them, but it's kind of funny watching them again. Anyway, the Lilo and it's called Lilo and Rich is the theme, because Lilo and Stitch in Mission Impossible 8. It says here that Disney's live action of Lilo and Stitch and Tom Cruise's final Mission Impossible movie from Paramount and Skydance fueled the biggest start of the holiday weekend. It says, of all time, Lilo and Stitch blew away all expectations with a record-smashing 4-day domestic of $183 million and a jaw-dropping $341.7 million globally. While Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning opened to a series of $77 million domestically and $190 million worldwide. That's a lot of money for this weekend. That's a lot of money. I wanted to go to the movies this weekend, but I just got so wrapped. Well, I guess I got wrapped up in this weekend, but I also don't have my debit card or my credit cards yet because of the scammers screwing me over. Hopefully, this will all get straightened out by the end of the week. Hopefully I'll get them by, well, it's Tuesday now. Hopefully I'll get them tomorrow or Wednesday. So, yeah, it's really weird. I haven't had any money all month, and my bills are paid so far, but the Xfinity bill came due, and it didn't go through because the card that it was supposed to be on is compromised and has been canceled. So I can't pay that card until I get my new card because I don't take American Express. So I'm kind of screwed on that whole point. And they won't take checks. They got to take credit cards on the Xfinity bill. That, to me, I don't understand, but they do not. Anyway, 3 weeks ago, Lilo was tracking to do 120 million. On Thursday, that number had grown to 165 million, but it came in even higher. That animated film isn't just drawing interest from families. Contrary, 60% of ticket sales were non-parents and kids, far higher than the norm. Interest exploded among teenage girls and younger women and adults, Gen Z, and younger millennials who grew up with on the first movie and resulting TV show, and about a Hawaiian girl who had a fraught family life who adopts an adorable, albeit troublemaking dog like Alien. Box office pundits say that the nostalgic factor is running high, just as it did among millennials and the Gen Zers for Disney's live-action Aladdin, which made $1.1 billion in global ticket sales after getting families, teens, and younger adults. Rideback produced both Lilo and 2019's Aladdin. Final Reckoning had a lock on the IMAX screens, more than made up the lackluster 54.7 million 5-day Dead Reckoning, as well as supplanting. I don't know what supplanting is. I know it's supplementing the 61 million 3-day launch of Fallout to set a new franchise opening. Mission movies have never been big openers, since the diehard fans are usually older adults, particularly older males. Ticket buyers over the age of 55 made up the largest chunk of the audience, followed by the coverted 18 to 24 demo. It also boasts a current Rotten Tomatoes of 80% and earned an A cinema score. So there you go. Sounds like it's a movie I definitely want to see, but then I like Tom Cruise, so I'll probably like that. And his movies are usually crazy. Hannah Gutierrez Reed, the movie Armorer. Yeah. Convicted in the fatal shooting of the cinematographer by Alec Baldwin is on the set of the movie Rust, was released from the New Mexico prison on Friday after completing an 18-month sentence. Prison records show Gutierrez Reed signed out of the Western New Mexico Correctional Facility in grants to return home to is that Buffhead? Buffhead. No, I can't read it. I need to pull it up on the screen here. There it is. Okay. Here it is. Bullhead City, Arizona, on a parole related to her involuntary manslaughter conviction in the death of Helena Hutchins in 2021. Gutierrez Reed is being supervised under terms of probation after pleading guilty to a separate charge of unlawfully carrying a gun into a licensed liquor establishment. Oh, what are we going to do with you, girl? Why would you do that? That's kind of weird. But anyway, Baldwin, the lead actor and co-producer for Rust, was pointing a gun at Hutchins during a rehearsal on the movie set outside Santa Fe when the revolver went off, killing Hutchins and wounding director Joel Souza. A jury convicted Gutierrez Reed of involuntary manslaughter in March of 2024. Well, I thought she was supposed to be there 18 months. That wasn't 18 months. Was it? Yeah, it was 18 months. She didn't do that. That wasn't 18 months. Jurors acquitted her of allegations that she tampered with evidence. Prosecutors blamed her for unwittingly bringing live ammunition on the set of Rust. Why did they need live stage but out of the spotlight, the quiet struggle of being an opening act? This is interesting to me. So my big fantasy is to be on a big stage, something I've never really gotten to do. I've never been on a stadium-sized stage. I've been on small stages. I've been on pretty big stages, but nothing as big as a stadium. Probably the biggest stage I performed at was at my high school stage, which was pretty big. And it really kind of probably looked funny with Ken and I being the only two people on that stage. But I always wanted to be in a touring band. And then I got this article. On stage, but out of the spotlight, the quiet struggle of being an opening act. So what they're talking about is that when you're on the stage, when you own that stage, no matter how big of a stage it is, when you own that stage and the people are there to see you, the pressure's off because you're going to be playing because they're there to see you. But then I read this today, and that actually was a little discouraging because we're looking at doing some opening act things to get our new band out there. And this thing that I found that actually was kind of disturbing. Since I grew up in a lot of different bands, and my bandmates and I always held on to the belief that we could just open up for a more established act, it would pave the way to more success. Of course, I have that belief, but now I don't. I'm not so sure that I do. Because it says, when I started playing in the indie pop band Passion Pit, the group known for its shivering synths, energetic live shows, breakout hits like Sleepyhead and Take a Walk, we began gaining traction and soon had a chance to open for the British band Muse in what would be our first arena shows, which is, to me, that's a fantasy. I want to play in front of so many people that I can't see the last person in line. I mean, that would be awesome to me because I thought, how cool would it be to play for all those people? But then I read the next line. The reality was different. After playing our own packed shows where fans cheered and called for encores, we suddenly found ourselves in a 15,000 seat capacity arena where it seemed everybody was ignoring us, chatting amongst themselves, still getting to their seats and waiting in line for food and drinks. I can see how that was disheartening. I mean, I've seen that in wrestling shows where some of the undercard people would get out there and people wouldn't care about the undercard and they'd go eat, and when they come back, for the main event. I mean, basically in wrestling, the best spots are the opening, because if you can't have a good, strong opening, people aren't going to pay attention to you. The opening, then right before intermission, right after intermission, and then the main event. Those are the hot spots to be. If you're anywhere besides those four spots, you're going to be lost in the shuffle, unless you get to capture their attention. It's a little easier with wrestling than it is with bands, because bands, you're there specifically to see one person or one band. In wrestling, you can win over a crowd by doing some cool stuff, by being creative, by capturing their imagination. In music, that's not really necessarily true. If they don't know your music, they're not necessarily going to be drawn to it. Whereas in wrestling, if you do a crazy move that catches their attention, or you tell a story that they listen to and see visually, you can capture their attention and become a star in wrestling, even if you're not in one of the key spots. I had that chance when I was in wrestling. When I was in a 6-man tag team, and we actually stole the show. And Ring of Honor was in that show too, and we stole Ring of Honor. We didn't wrestle better than Ring of Honor. Understand, I'm not saying I was a better wrestler, because I'm not. I'm not a wrestler. I'm a manager. But we stole them because of the story that we told. And the people bought the story, and they loved being into the story. They loved to hate someone. They loved to love someone. And we had all the pieces of the puzzle. We told the story so well. And the way we told the story was, I came out, they had a band. I came out and told them that the band sucked and that they didn't have one of these CDs. They didn't have a CD like I did, and that they had no reason playing an event like this. And I just basically shamed the singer into doing a match. And this guy had never wrestled a match in his life. So when we went in the back, I told him a few things he needed to know, and he did exactly what he was supposed to do. And the other 4 wrestled. We didn't wrestle necessarily. We did a couple moves, but we didn't wrestle. We told the story, and the others told the story too. And because we all did our jobs, and this is before James Ellsworth was with WWE, and he was on the good guy side. He was on the singer side. We all did a really good job, and we all had fun, and the match went off without a hitch, and the crowd bought into it. And they bought into it because it was well done. It was not a great technical match. It wasn't fast-paced. It was slow-paced because it had to tell a story. It had to have time to tell the story. Now, with a band, you can't have that. You're either known or you're not. Like if I was playing with Kiss, it doesn't matter how big my band is, how good my band is, how awesome my band is. People aren't there to see me. They're there to see Kiss. Now, in all fairness, when I saw the different bands that I've seen live, I was there for the main event, for the lead band, but I also gave the other bands a chance because I'm a musician and I want to hear what they have to say. And a lot of the times nowadays, you have super bands that are touring. Like, for instance, I saw Heart and Def Leppard in the same arena. That was great. It was just, they were both awesome bands. It didn't matter in that case who was the main event, because they were both main events in my eyes. But if you put a band together that nobody heard of, even if they're local bands or whatever, they're just not going to get they're not going to get the oomph that they deserve. And that's what this whole article is about. It says reality was different after playing our own packed shows where fans cheered and called for encores. We suddenly found ourselves in 15,000 capacity arenas where it seemed everybody was ignoring us. There's a wake-up call. The transition from being a headliner at a smaller music venue to an opener for a major act didn't seem like a step forward. It felt like starting over. Years later, as an academic surviving the music industry, I found myself returning to that question. Does opening for a major act help an artist's career? There's an assumption that it's a golden ticket, but I'd seen plenty of openers, some incredibly talented, disappear from the spotlight soon after the tour ended. If touring is supposed to be a stepping stone to a long-term success, why do so many promising acts fade into obscurity? These questions become the basis for my most recent study. I wanted to see whether these high-profile opportunities deliver any benefits for a singer or band, or if they were like a sugar high, providing little more than a brief boost of exposure. It's hard to stick out from the crowd. Popular music is a $28.6 billion global industry. And the music consumption, according to the 2025 report from the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry, is at an all-time high. I can tell you that my album, I haven't gotten residuals for my album in 2 years. And it's because people are listening to the top bands. They're not listening to new bands. And it's hard to get on the radio, too, for a band like we have. Actually, for a band that's been out there for 10 years, they're not even able to get on, unless they gain traction on their own, they're not even getting radio play. So anyway, the international phonographic industry, people around the world now spend an average of 20.7 hours per week listening to music on the radio. Streaming platforms, vinyl, CDs, social media, the ease of listening to and recording music presents both an opportunity and a challenge for aspiring artists. On one hand, streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music have removed traditional gatekeepers, making it easier than ever to release music and reach a global audience. But these platforms have also saturated listeners with content and discovery. It's like the radio. It's like back when I started this radio show, there was nothing like it when I did it. We created something new, and I got listeners like crazy just because it was different, and nobody was streaming at that point. We took a live format. I mean, people do podcasts. That's cool. I don't have a problem with podcasts, but podcast is going to be more perfect than a live show, and I like a live show because it's not perfect. I like a live show because you get to be creative, and whatever comes out, and you don't edit it out for any reason. You keep it in. And, if you look at a podcast, like they'll take an hour podcast and they'll cut it down to 40 minutes because they cut out everything that isn't needed. Whereas on a radio show, you get everything. You get the mistakes. You don't get it. It's not perfect. There's no way that it could be perfect. And I like it that way. I like it. I like to be able to be avant-garde. I like to improv my show. And when I talk to you, I'm talking to you right from the heart. And what I say is the truth. It's the truth for me. I mean, I'm not candy coating things, and I'm not trying to be someone I'm not. You're hearing me from. Sometimes I exaggerate a little bit. Sometimes I try to be goofy. Sometimes I try to be serious. But one thing you won't find from me is you won't find that I'm fake. You will find exactly what it is. And you may disagree with me. I've gotten a lot of fights with my girlfriend because I've said things that were just spelled it out, and I didn't edit it out. It was as it is. Because that's what it is. I am talking as I am, and as if you were in the room with me. So if you were in the room with me, I would say the same thing, probably. Not if my girlfriend was there, maybe not. But I know that she's listening, or she has the capability of listening, and I still don't filter things out. And she'll come up to me and say, "Why'd you say this?" And I'd say what? Because most times I don't remember saying it. I just speak as whatever's going on, and that's what you get. You get the truth. For those of you that follow wrestling, local wrestling, or if you followed Trash Talking Radio when we were wrestling, I was on the phone with, one of the reasons I was almost late was I was on the phone with Johnny Kashmere. Johnny Kashmere and I go back 25 years. We haven't seen each other in 15, I would say, but he's part of the wrestling school. And he almost was our co-host tonight because I asked him to come on the show. And he had a funeral to go to, so we didn't get to do it. But don't be surprised if he comes on the show one of these times when Doug's not here. Really good guy. He had a lot of demons, as did I when we were in wrestling the first time. Made a lot of enemies, as did I. Had a lot of friends that died, as did I. That's one of the things we're talking about. But seems to be a really honest guy. And he's going to be working in our school. He's one of the owners of SPO Wrestling. And he just called me out of the blue. I texted him a question if he wanted to come on the show tonight. And he texted me back, and then he just called me, and we talked for about an hour. I really think he's come a long way, as I have. We've both come to realizations that we weren't right in a lot of things that we've done in the past. And we've learned a lot from our past. I know I have. I know that if you listen to my show from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, a lot of things have changed in my years, and a lot of people that were friends of mine when this show started are not now. Or not in my life now. And I miss a lot of those guys. Anyway, all right, back to the. So anyway, as far as it goes to the benefits of these tours, these big tours. While headlining tours are often seen as a marker of success, many emerging acts' first step on national stages is openers, raising the question, does opening for a major artist actually lead to meaningful career growth? In the study, he says that touring and streaming data of 57 opening acts on major U.S. tours in 2022 and 2023. For this project, major referring to nationally promoted ticketed tours as venues with capacities of 2,000 or more, such as Harry Styles' Love on Tour, Paramore's Spring Arena Run, and Mitski's Laurel Hell Tour. These tours drew large, dedicated fan bases, offering opening artists significant exposures. Using a platform such as Pollster, Songkick, Chartmetric, I tracked each artist's listening across Spotify 4 weeks before the tour, during the tour, and 4 weeks after the tour. I conducted surveys with 500 fans to better understand how people were discovering and engaging with openers. The results were revealing. Most opening acts saw streaming bump during the tour, usually between 18 and 20%, some surging to 200%. But the momentum rarely held. Within weeks, streams often dropped to 6% or 10%, or returned to their pre-tour levels entirely. While few artists managed to hold on to new listeners, most saw gains quickly fade. And even when audiences enjoyed an opener set, their interest withered. They may have checked out a song or two after the show, but few became regular listeners. These findings challenged the long-standing narrative that opening for a major artist is a surefire way surefire path to career growth. Exposure helps, but that's not enough on its own. Without a clear post-tour strategy, that attention quickly fades. I just, it was an opener because an eye opener because I really didn't think that about that. It says, I'm not trying to discourage aspiring bands from going on tour. Far from it, touring remains a crucial part of building a fan base. In a landscape defined by passive consumption, there's something powerful. Shared the experience of live music. A performance can create an emotional connection that a stream can't. One way I can actually look at it from a different perspective, or from the perspective that truly cements what I'm talking about. We had a couple bands in this area that were really close. They were on the cusp of making it big. I'll name them. The Sharks. They were. What are you looking at? Hey, stop! I'm in the middle of a conversation. The Sharks were one of the bands that were on the cusp of. They almost made it. I mean, they were on the MTV. So that's how far back we're looking. They were really close to being a national act. They couldn't get that little lip of getting to the next level. They just couldn't get there. They were traveling probably mostly the Northeast, and I think they even they still play some gigs now. And this is 30 years later, whatever it is. What do you think? You weren't around then. Then there's the band Winter City. They were that close to making it. They had CDs. They were as close as you could get without actually doing it. They were going up and down the East Coast, and they were playing on a regular basis. But these are guys I went to school with, and I can assure you, if there was a chance to make it, they would have made it. But they didn't. In fact, they didn't even. That most of the band didn't even make any money. The only people that made money in the band were probably the brothers that were running the band, but they probably didn't even make money. When it's all said and done, between having the crew, the truck, the PA, the lights, and all that stuff that goes with touring, they probably broke even when it comes right down to it. And then there's the probably the biggest of the three that I was thinking of is Kix. Kix was playing Baltimore and Pennsylvania and all over the place. They had national. They had radio play. Now I would say that the Sharks had radio play too. I don't know if Winter City did, but I can guarantee you that the Sharks did, and certainly Kix did. Kix had a contract with a record label and everything, but they really did what I would say, for the amount of work they did, it didn't pay off. I mean, unless you add in the value of getting to do your art. As far as making money, I don't think any of those guys made money. And they were pretty big bands, and they were good bands. They were tight bands, and they were awesome bands. And it's a shame because they deserved to make it, and they didn't. They all deserved to make it. But in my eyes, none of them made it. In their eyes, at least two of them probably felt that they didn't make it. And the third one, I don't know what they thought because I don't know any of the members of the third one. I know members of the two of them. But I can tell you that Shay Quinn, who is part of the Sharks, was part of the Sharks, and does reunions with members of the Sharks. He never really made it. I mean, last I knew he was working at Guitar Center. I don't know if that's, I mean, that was a long time ago, but I haven't seen him in a long time. And, you know, it's just a shame, because these people were all talented. They all should have made it. So why should I think that I'm going to make it? I don't know. I don't, I don't know. I don't know that, um, I don't know that making it matters anymore in my age. The idea of playing in a stadium, now we're back to the stadium again. The idea of playing in a stadium, as long as you go into the stadium with the idea that this may not do anything for you, you'll be okay. But if you think that you're going to become a millionaire because you play in a stadium, um, that's more than likely not going to be the situation. It could be. I mean, you could. I have a friend who's J.J. Rupp. He's playing and he's making money, doing okay with it. He just had a new record release, but he's not making it like Kiss would make it, or like any number of bands, that were making money or would make it, because whatever reason, he deserves to make it. He's good enough, but he isn't. He's not making it. He's not making. I mean, he's making it a lot better than I am, and he's getting to do what he likes to do. So if that is the reason you're in the business, I guess that's what I'm getting at. Your motivation for being in the business. If you're in the business because you love the business, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But if you're in the business for fame and fortune, I'd say it's a different strategy than just playing. You have to have the right people behind you, the right people that know how to promote you. And as anything, it's really about promotion. It's about promoting the product, or having the product promote it for you, and doing your part in making the product visible. Because you could be the best band in the world, but if nobody heard you, it doesn't matter. And I guess that might be where I'm coming from. I don't know where I'm coming from. I just want to show the reality is that you can be the best band in the world, but it doesn't really matter if nobody hears you. It's like if a tree falls in the forest. If nobody heard it, did it really make a sound? If a band makes the best sound in the world, but nobody hears it. Ken and I could have been the best band in the world, but nobody heard us. The few times we were playing out a month or a year or whatever it wasn't enough to get us where we wanted to be. But were we happy about it? Well, we were happy with the art that we created. Did we think we could ever make it? Yeah, we did. But that wasn't our main motivation. Our main motivation was we loved writing music and we loved playing music, and we felt that the music was where our happiness was. And it wasn't really the money. I mean, certainly it would have made us happier if we made money, but that's not what we're in it for. And if you're going to be happy, you got to be finding something that makes you happy other than the music. That's really what I guess it's all about. Is if you're happy doing it, it doesn't really matter if you're the best in the world. It just matters. The song, you can't please everyone, but you got to please yourself. That's kind of the story of life. You're never ever going to please everyone with your music, but if you're happy with what you're doing, keep doing it. Because if your motivation is you're trying to please your inner worth, if the important thing to you is that you've been able to create something, that's what matters. And that's always what mattered to me. From the day I first started doing music to today, I've always believed that if you're happy with your choices of doing music and or painting art or whatever your craft is, whatever it is that you do that makes you happy. It doesn't really matter what everybody else thinks. It only really matters what you think. And that's where I guess I could leave it, is that if you can make yourself feel good, or if you can provoke an emotion, if you listen to my songs and you feel happy after listening to them, feel sad, feel depressed, feel whatever, as long as you feel something, I've done my job. If you feel nothing when you hear my stuff, I didn't do my job. Or I didn't do my job to you. See, when I write music, I don't write music for you. I write music because it heals me. And whenever I have to give, I give it my 110% for me. And if you're along for the ride, strap yourself in. It could be a bumpy one, or it could be a fun one. So, I don't know. I should just shut up. No one wants to hear all this crap that I'm saying. But I guess what he's saying is that, you got to realize that the people aren't there to see you. They're there to see the other people, and you're just noise until they come on stage. And you may end up being one of the lucky ones that ends up evoking an interest in you. Like if you went to see Jimi Hendrix and you didn't know who Jimi Hendrix was, and Jimi Hendrix put on actually Jimi Hendrix had to be pulled off stage one time because people just didn't get it. So even Jimi Hendrix has had issues with till he became someone that everyone knew. But I can guarantee you that even if someone didn't like Jimi Hendrix, he evoked an emotion, and that is the key. Whether you be a villain or you be a hero, if you evoked an emotion to somebody, then that's it. Here's something that did say: success stories, instances where opening slots have helped launch careers. Billie Eilish opened for Florence and the Machine early in her career, using the visibility to build a massive following. Taylor Swift, in particular, has a reputation for picking future stars. Justin Bieber, Ed Sheeran, Shawn Mendes, Sabrina Carpenter, and Chappelle Rowan all opened for her in becoming major names. And I'll tell you what, I think, honestly, that the stars can make a difference as to whether or not the people accept you. Because if they come by and they start saying something, hey, how about a hand for whatever it is, then the people will automatically say, oh, well, yeah, they probably weren't that bad. Well, because a star power can make you a name, but not necessarily. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. All right, enough of that. I'm sure that you're tired of hearing about it. But I said my piece, and that's the way it is. Be like if Howard Stern all of a sudden said he had a good radio show, and through Howard Stern's say, I could be loved or I could be hated just by his fans. It wouldn't make a difference for people outside of his area, but within his area, he could make a difference as to whether or not we're getting remembered. So enough of that. All right. So here's the next one. Okay. How a $1 million contest changed binge watching forever. This is kind of interesting because at one time, think about before we had all these streaming platforms, if you wanted to watch, let's say, Breaking Bad, in a time before Breaking Bad had streaming, that's not the case for Breaking Bad. I'm just picking that one as a name of a show that was ongoing, had multiple seasons. Let's say you just found out about Breaking Bad and it has 7 seasons, and they're on the 7th season. You want to catch up. You want to binge watch it. So where did binge watching come from? When did we start being able to binge watch? Well, I mean, we didn't have streaming service like this when I was a kid, and we didn't have streaming services like this at all until the early 2000s with Netflix. I mean, you could go out and rent things at a video store if you want to rent seasons of something. If you wanted to rent seasons of Dallas, you could watch all the Dallases at once. That would be binge watching, but to do it in your comfort of your own home without leaving your house, without leaving to rent something, you really couldn't do it until we had Netflix. So Netflix had $1 million contest that changed how we watch TV. So now in the early days of Netflix, I had the early days of Netflix, and the bandwidth wasn't there, and it wasn't a good service in the beginning. And I ended up having 2 accounts on Netflix because I didn't realize it by accident. I mean, I was getting double billed and I didn't realize it. It was horrible in the very beginning because it was just not. I wasn't organized, and I didn't think they were organized, and the service quality wasn't there yet because it was new. They had no idea how to anticipate what your rate of streaming would have to be, what your bandwidth had to be for you to stream without interrupting. I mean, at one time when I had this radio show and it was only audio, I had to be careful back then. We're talking about 2003, 4, 5, whatever. I had to be careful how much streaming we did. And since we didn't watch TV on the internet, we watched TV on cable still. Even though Netflix was there, we didn't watch they had such limited stuff back then. We still watched TV on cable for the most part. And there were some things, and even if you go back further to 95 or so, I remember trying to download zip files, compressed files, and didn't even know what they were. I didn't know how. Okay, I got the zip file. How do I use it? I didn't. Back then we didn't know. It was so new to us, and so it was just a whole different world back then because it was all uncharted territory. It was wild, wild west, if you will, because nobody knew how to do things. I mean, I remember back when the internet was so new, you had to go to bulletin boards to meet people. You didn't get video. You were only going to get chatting by words, and you're in news groups and stuff like that. It was so crazy. And in fact, I met my first wife, or my second wife, on a Usenet group. We were dating virtually, but not really, because I didn't know what she looked like. I kind of knew what she looked like because I think we sent pictures back and forth. I don't remember, but it was just weird because it was all little chats back then, and I remember trying to. Back then, you didn't just chat like Facebook chat. You would have to go to a specific group and chat in that group. It's funny because it was all so different than it is now. Millennials will never understand that because they grew up to chatting the way that we do now. Facebook has really made it easy to chat. But before that, there was AOL chat, and there was uh, the other services too. And I remember there was what was that service? I don't even think they're around anymore. Everybody's been bought up by everybody. And AOL used their fortunes to buy Time Warner. I mean, that shows you they saw the writing on the wall that AOL was doomed. Now AOL, they still have their free emails. I probably still have a free email on AOL. I don't even know what it was anymore, but yeah, it's funny when I think about that. Anyway, so what was I getting at? Oh yeah, that's it. The binge watching. So the Netflix prize, how $1 million contest changed binge watching forever. Now I didn't know about this, by the way, but I knew about it from today or from whenever I found this. It says we need to go win $1 million. Lester McKay was a senior computer science major at Princeton when a friend burst into his dorm in a hysterical fit of excitement. We need to do this. In October 2006, Netflix, a service peddling discs of every movie and every TV show under the sun, announced a Netflix prize. Now, if you don't know this or if you don't remember this, Netflix originally was those big old like containers that looked like a giant. It was like a giant jukebox that you would put in your card, you would put in, I guess, money, and out pops a CD or a DVD of whatever your movie is. And you had 2 days to watch it, then you took it back and you traded it in and you got something else, and you paid your money and all that. That's how if you don't remember or if you don't know, that's how Netflix started. And then Netflix had a choice where you could have them delivered to your house. And then you had 2 days, and then you'd ship them back in a prepaid envelope, I think. And then you would get another one. That was the second generation of Netflix. And then the third generation was streaming. So in October 2006, Netflix, a service peddling discs of every movie and every TV show under the sun, announced a Netflix prize, a competition that lured Mackey and his contemporaries for computer programming equivalent of Cannonball Run. The mission: make the company's recommendations engine 10% more accurate or die coding. Word of the competition immediately spread like a virus through comp sci circles, tech blogs, research communities, and even mainstream media. And if you like this movie, a Netflix contest may reward you handsomely. Read the New York Times headline. And while $1 million created attention, it was the data set, over 100 million ratings of 17,770 movies from 480,000 customers that had number-crunching nuts salivating. There was nothing like it at the time, and there hasn't been anything quite since. Why the hell would a tech giant even do that? While it's common for successful corporations to protect their data like pirates guarding treasure, at the time CEO Reed Hastings was looking for a way to increase the efficiency of Cinematch. The software company rolled out in 2000 to recommend movies you might enjoy. If you liked 40-Year-Old Virgin, check out Superbad. Over the years, he recruited brilliant minds to tinker with the magic formula, but they'd hit a wall. He needed results, fresh ideas, and innovation. Back then, they were not. I don't think they were making a profit at that point. I think they were losing money at that point, and they were trying to find a way to make money. They didn't make money until they started doing like the Star Wars stuff. That's when they started making money. And when Disney decided they were going to do streaming, they lost all of that Star Wars money because Disney says, we're going to take Star Wars away from you as of this date, I don't remember the date. And at that point, Netflix, which had become the biggest streaming company, because everybody else was not streaming yet, was panicking because that was their big money. People who were going to see Star Wars movies wanted the availability of being able to watch any Star Wars movie, and they could do that through Netflix. And when Netflix got the notification that they were going to lose Star Wars, they lost their cash cow. So then they had to end up spending even more money because they had to buy their own movies. They had to create movies, and that's when Happy Gilmore and stuff like that, he started putting out those kind of movies. Not Happy Gilmore, but Adam Sandler ended up getting lots of money for putting out bad movies, and a couple other people did too. But the whole idea was they had to have content that not everybody had, and attract them to that platform. So that's what this whole thing was about. They had to create a system where if you like this movie, try this movie, and that's something that they have done, and they've done it really well. They spent that money, and that was a real good thing for them. Following the announcement and his college buddies' Braveheart-like rally cry, Lester McKay became one of 30,000 Netflix enthusiasts who downloaded the trove of information and set out to unlock the secrets of recommendations algorithm. His team, Dinosaur Planet, which included the Princeton classmates David Lynn and David Weiss, initially tinkered with the project out of curiosity and excitement, but quickly they were hooked. We didn't think we could win it, he explained to me over the phone recently, but we thought it would be a fun activity, something that would allow us to use what we're learning in our computer science classes and our math classes, and a good opportunity to learn the field of machine learning. You want to talk about real-time learning about a real-world problem. They had that. The contest didn't just catch the attention of college students with time to kill. An hour east of Princeton, in Middleton, New Jersey, the Netflix prize announcement caught the eyes of Chris Walensky, head of statistics research group of AT&T, and his team, who regularly read blogs to see what's going on in the emerging data science world. This was before big data, he tells me, and therefore a big deal. He pulled his group together and asked who wanted to poke around in the data set. He didn't know the contest would stretch for years. Hobbyists, academics, and professionals weren't drawn to the contest by potential payday. The revelations were just as enticing because the winners would retain ownership of the work. A contestant like Walensky could also pitch the management at AT&T in devoting time and resources to the project. The rules of the contest only stipulated that the winning team would have to license its work non-exclusively to Netflix. That was a big risk that Netflix took, too, because as they were growing, there were other companies that were attempting to grow, too. And so that means their contest, their funding, could end up being somebody else's win. So hobbyists, academics, professionals, the rules of the contest only stimulate that they would have to license its work to non-exclusively. So if it was exclusively to Netflix, they probably still would have had the same people. And it's just that because you have a challenge here that no one's ever done. Everyone does like movies, and undoubtedly in Hastings' mind, when he first came up with the Netflix prize, Gina Keating described in her book Netflix, The Epic Battle for America's Eyeballs. Hastings had a lofty ambition for the competition, along with a family connection to the grand tradition of intellectual incubation. Prior to World War II, his grandfather Alfred Lee Loomis, a philanthropist and scientist, established Loomis Laboratory in Tuxedo Park, New York. It was at this near his mansion where Keating writes, Loomis enticed world-famous scientists to physics lab by dangling cutting-edge equipment, luxurious accommodations, and generous stipends. Hastings didn't have to dangle as much, while previous crowd-sourced competitions like Osari X Prize, which awarded $10 million to the inventors of the reusable spacecraft in 2004, required. That's kind of funny when you think about it. When you think about it, they were making $10 million to make a reusable spacecraft, which would cost more than an analog. That shows how much Netflix needed this to work. So you just needed a computer and an internet connection to compete. One of the competition's micro celebrities, an English psychologist named Gavin Potter, went to the screen named Just a Guy in a Garage. And Hastings, in a way, Hastings was a tech age Willy Wonka, letting any curious hacker into his digital chocolate factory. Instead of a chocolate river, he offered a gushing stream of data. And a winning golden ticket wasn't hiding in an ordinary candy bar. It was located in your brain. So the actual work of the winning Netflix prize wasn't easy. If you knew anything about the computers, you weren't going to download the data set and discover you're actually Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting, but for recommender algorithms. Even contestants like McKay would go on to earn a PhD in computer science from the UC Berkeley, or Valinsky, who had the support of AT&T and colleagues, had to spend hours learning about topics like machine learning, a highly specialized subfield of computer science. In essence, it's kind of like a precursor to AI, because this takes this and it takes this, and it somehow makes them relate to each other in ways that wouldn't normally happen. So that's kind of, when you think about it, it's kind of amazing that they were able to do that at that time during computers. What made the contest so hard? For one thing, the sheer range of the data. Some users in the set had only reviewed 9 movies, which was the minimum to be included, and gave the contestants very little information to get a good read on their tastes. On the other hand, some Netflix obsessives, you know the type, had rated 900 films. The range also applied to the individual titles. A blockbuster like Batman Begins would have hundreds of thousands of star ratings, but some obscure movies had 20 ratings in the whole set. I just wonder, how they did that, how they actually made the early days when there wasn't. They had to create logic that would make sense to the computer. I just wonder how they. Some guys had to spend a lot of time on this. Anyway, well, the basic thing is they have a 30-day window. This was in 2009. It was the Belcourt Pragmatic Chaos finally crossed the 10% finish line, triggering a 30-day window to submit a better algorithm. McKay and his ensemble teammates were feeling the heat. We had not slept for the past 2 days because the contest was about to end. We knew we were about to close. We knew we were close to Belcor's pragmatic chaos, but we didn't know if we had paused for them for a day. Days prior, we had actually managed to inch ahead of them, but knowing that team, we knew we could easily strike back with something better. So it was like a giant race. But on September 18th, 2009, Belcor Pragmatic officials officially won the competition by a tiebreaker. By then, the ensemble had actually matched Belcor's winning score 20 minutes too late, as Reed Hastings told the New York Times after the contest came to a close that 20 minutes was worth $1 million. Man, I'd hate to lose by 20 minutes. But, it happens. But anyway, that's how, they started that contest just so they could create an algorithm of their own. And now algorithms are all over the place. They're in YouTube videos. They're basically anywhere you go on the internet, there's an algorithm. So I just found that really interesting that they spent $1 million at that time, $1 million for a company that could potentially fail. Was a lot of money. So I'm going to move on to another topic because I'm sure this is boring to a lot of people. So why is it the McDonald's won't call its shakes milkshakes? Any idea? And actually, if you think about it, they don't really use terms like that for any of their stuff. Like, it's a Mick something. It's a whatever. They do their own thing, so to speak. It's smaller now. Okay, there we go. McDonald's has its fair share of steamy controversies over the years, and why a few menu items have been spared a starring role in the wildest McDonald's rumors, from bizarre claims that its patties are made of pink slime and the McRib contains kangaroo meat, to allegations that, wait for it, its factories contain freezers of human meat. Deep breaths. None of those are true. Another theory was that the internet buzzing was what happened to milkshakes since they were first sold in 1949. The chilled dessert has its own, I hate this. Little pop-ups drive me crazy. I know where I'm at. I don't need you to tell me. The chilled dessert drink has its own niche of skepticism since its debut, with plenty of eagle-eyed customers noticing that the popular McDonald's item is missing a key word, milk. If the food giant doesn't call them milkshakes, it must have replaced the milk with an ice cream with non-dairy, totally unnatural fillers, right? Wrong. Find out why milkshakes are called shakes and whether they contain real milk or are just artificially milky. So here you go. Considering how frequently this question comes up with McDonald's consumers, it seems though the sweet, creamy beverage has changed drastically over the years. Despite the wild fast food myths, not much has actually changed with McDonald's shakes, except how they appear on the menu. The question is it no milk or isn't it? Yes, we're going to find out shortly. When the first restaurant opened, the original menu featured 9 items, including milkshakes in 3 flavors. Well, you probably wouldn't have noticed the quiet change from milkshake to shake since the company debuted its triple thick milkshakes in 1949. In all of McDonald's history, there's only been one publicized change on the shake front. A partnership with Cumberland Dairy, which started making milkshake mixes for the fast food chain in 1971. Whether the fast food joint used a mix from a different dairy prior to 1971 remains a mystery. But the public announcement on the Cumberland dairy mix likely sparked a rumor claiming the shakes contain no milk. And some say chicken feathers and styrofoam instead. Once the 90s hit, the internet did its thing. The legend grew. People's suspicions further after the release of the 2016 movie The Founder, which chronicles the fast foods restaurant founding and features a scene in which standardized milkshake mix was proposed to boost sales. The real reason McDonald's doesn't use the term milkshake for its creamy desserts today is unrelated to its outsourcing of milkshake premix in 1971. So why doesn't McDonald's call them milkshakes? The answer lies in state food rules and regulations. In order to call any flavor of McDonald's delicious desserts in the UK, Canada, or the Netherlands, you'd see that both the menu and your bill display the word milkshake. So what happened to milkshakes in America? McDonald's chooses to call the milk beverage shakes for the sake of simplicity. The company clarifies that on its website, dairy regulations actually vary from state to state on what you can actually call a milkshake. We keep it simple and refer to them strictly as shakes, and the U.S. is not the only exception. McDonald's has kept its terminology consistent across the countries, with the menu featuring shakes instead of milkshakes in Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa, to name a few. I can't even imagine going to a McDonald's in South Africa. Or, well, I can't imagine Australia or New Zealand either, but that's a whole different thing. Don't get too hung up on regulations that McDonald's refers to. Simply has to do with the allowable milk fat and milk solid content in milkshakes. Here's what milkshake rules and regulations look like in 4 different states. In Connecticut, a milkshake has to contain between 3.25% and 6% of milk fat and non-fat milk solids above 10%. South Dakota, a milkshake should have between 2% and 7% milk fat and at least 23% total solids. New York, there's a clear distinction between freezer-made milkshakes and freezer-made freezer-made shakes and freezer-made milkshakes, the latter of which needs to be between 3.25% and 6% milk fat, and the non-fat milk solids above 10%. Georgia, a milkshake can be a milkshake mix, milkshake, or low-fat milkshake, depending on the milk fat or milk solid content. So from just those 4 states alone, it's clear on why McDonald's shortened the drink's name to shakes. It's a whole lot easier than adapting the menu based on the state. That makes sense. So nobody really needs to know what's in them, but no matter what flavor you order, the shakes are made using the signature reduced fat vanilla soft serve, and the first ingredient of the McDonald's ice cream is milk, followed by sugar, cream, corn syrup, and a handful of additives. The ice cream base is mixed with flavor syrup and topped with whipped cream before being served. So there you go. In Massachusetts, there's no legal definition for a sweet treat, but socially speaking, a milkshake is just milk mixed with syrup. Hold the ice cream. And the rest of the country calls a milkshake, Bay Staters call a frappe, not to be confused with McDonald's frappes. You'll see things get confusing for a national chain. Yeah, that would be rough if you have to worry about, each state. We can't seem to have a regular definition of what that is. So that's the basic idea between the shakes and the milkshakes. I don't drink either one, but I like them. I just don't. And I try to stay away from that stuff. Although I do eat ice cream from time to time. Well, I do it usually every night. I get a creamsicle because they're low in calories. Why do McDonald's keep bringing back the McRib? And this one's really an interesting. This one blew my mind when I read this. Uh, so I never understood why they only had it certain times of the year, and it didn't seem to be consistent. But I don't know. Here's the reason. Roughly every November for the past few years, the same news headlines continue to pop up as McDonald's McRib returns to selected locations nationwide. This time it made its 2020 debut a little late, officially launching on December 2nd. Was this article written that long ago? Really? I didn't catch that. It was written in 2021. Okay, well, this is the reason why it's that way. McDonald's gave folks a rather cryptic answer to the last time people pushed, saying the McRib comes back when it feels like it, or returns based on consumer demand. If that's the case, the McRib would have never left the menu. However, there are two key reasons from a business standpoint that it's not around all the time. This is actually kind of funny. It's no secret that the McDonald's famous pork sandwich is made from pork trimmings. It's the price of those extraneous pork shoulder cuts that play a major part in determining when and how long the McRib stays on the menu. Meat scientist Roger Mandingo, one of the men credited with helping McDonald's invent the legendary sandwich, told the news that the national supply of those pieces of pork used to make the McRib isn't too big. Okay, we need to get this closed. All right, there we go. That's exactly what McDonald's does with the McRib. Major news outlets and the entire internet picks up the story every time the McRib comes back, which in turn brings in more traffic as fanatics of the sandwich come in droves to sample it once more. Because the McDonald's is so ubiquitous and the McRib is so noteworthy, fans are then disheartened when it leaves and rejoice exuberantly when it returns. Do you know about these secret menu items? If the McRib were always on the menu, it wouldn't have the same food appeal and excitement every time you want to try it. Thus, the cost control and marketing allure, McDonald's has developed a clever strategy to draw the masses in with the McRib release campaigns. As Inc.'s Nicole Carter puts it, when McDonald's playing hard to get with the McRib, oh, stop this. I don't need this. Okay. Baffles most customers from a business perspective. It has proven to be wildly effective strategy. The McRib marketing strategy bundles the appeal of exclusivity, scarcity, and seasonality into one savory package. For us, that means we can expect the McRib always disappearing and coming back. The real reason is that the McRib would be more expensive if it was on the menu all the time, because that would raise the cost of the McRib because they would realize the value of that meat. And when it's only around for part of the time, it doesn't keep that expense because nobody has made that correlation that, they don't know when. Well, first off, they don't know when it's going to be back. But part of it is that the cost of that meat is a little more expensive, and it would be around the whole. If it was, it's kind of like, okay. I used to buy these bones from the supermarket for the dog. This is years ago, and they were really cheap. You could get 4 of them for $2. So they were like 50 cents a piece. So I used to go in there and I used to buy all of them. Whenever I'd see them, I'd buy them all. I'd bring them home, and my dogs would uh, have bones for whenever, how long, for a long time. Well, after you start buying them regularly, the price goes up. And I noticed that those bones that cost me 50 cents a piece are probably now $4 a piece. And that really raised the value of something that doesn't cost them anything, because they're already getting the bones with the meat. So, and that's the same reason that so if you buy it regularly and you see that there's a demand for it, you're going to raise the price of it. And when COVID hit, those prices went way up and they never came down. So, it kind of sucks that that's the same situation with these brick ribs, is that because they're not a regular selling thing, you can get them cheap or cheaper at certain times, and you can supply your customers with so many of them, then they run out, and then they have another promotion. So they always sell out of them, and they can sell them at a cheaper price because they buy them at a cheaper price. So that's the real reason for it. Okay. Now this is an interesting. I just found this story before we went on the air. Todd and Julie Chrisley have been in jail for, I don't know, a couple of years now, based on tax fraud, tax evasion, bank fraud, and they've been treated pretty badly in jail. I know he has specifically been treated badly in jail, and she's been pretty badly in jail too. Trump says he's going to, actually has officially pardoned them, so now they can get out of jail. I just think that, I guess I feel okay about that. I mean, they've been in jail for a couple of years now, and they were going to put them away for a long time, and they've been getting pretty bad treatment in there. Todd and Julie Chrisley have officially been pardoned by President Trump on Tuesday, May 27th, today. The longtime couple reported to prison in 2023. Wow, it's only been since then. Wow, it seemed like a lot longer than that for some reason. The two rose to fame on USA's Chrisley Knows Best. Todd and Julie Chrisley have officially been pardoned in their ongoing case. On Tuesday, May 27th, President Trump announced that he had granted Todd, 56, Julie, 52, full pardons. They were supposed to be in there for like 20 years or something like that. They were really hammered. I don't know if they were right or wrong. I don't know what I mean, I can't really speak on it, but I thought they were really they were really used as for some reason they really, I thought they were really harsh on them, and plus their treatment in prison was really bad. So I really kind of feel good about that. It's a terrible thing, but a great thing, because their parents are going to be free and clean, Trump said to the couple's children via phone call. I hope we can do it by tomorrow. I don't know them, but give them my regards and wish them good luck. It's funny because when they first came on the air on Chrisley Knows Best, when they first came on the air, I thought, this isn't really a reality TV show, is it? I figured it was like they were mocking a reality TV show by putting them on there. And he was supposed to be a rich real estate guy, and they had this lavish life of some sort. And I thought for sure that this wasn't real. I thought for sure that it wasn't a real reality TV show, because the kids are quirky, and it just didn't make sense. It didn't sound real, and it turned out to be real. I thought it was funny because I bought it that they were real. I mean, I really thought they were actors, because he sounded as gay as could possibly be, and he was with this pretty good-looking woman, and I thought, there's no way he's sleeping with her. There's just no way, because he is gay. He is absolutely gay. I guess I was wrong, because I guess he was with her, and they did really have kids, and they really did have a grandparent, or the kids have a grandparent and stuff. And, so they had to live the past couple of years without their mother and father because they put them both in jail. So I mean, I guess I'm happy because I felt they were really treated badly. It says here, Todd and Julie were initially indicted August 2019 before being sentenced in November 2022 to a combined 19 years in prison. They had appealed the case ever since. Initially, Julie's appeal was granted due to insufficient evidence, while Todd's was upheld. However, a separate judge later ruled that her original punishment was sufficient. Their original sentence was reduced in September 2023. Amid the imprisonment, Savannah had become the sole caretaker of the pair's youngest children, Grayson, 19, Chloe, 12, at just 25 years old. The couple also shares Chase at 28, while Todd had children, Lindsay, 35, and Kylie, 33, during a previous marriage. I wasn't expecting to get 2 kids, Savannah said in February. So between that, legal expenses to fight my appearances, I'm just like everyone else out there. Sure, I put a smile on my face. I look the part. I play the part, but it doesn't mean I'm actually the part. You fake it till you make it, and that's where we live. I've struggled. So it's not really fair that the oldest one had to start taking care of the younger kids, and I thought that was really strange. But all the while, the Unlocked with Savannah Chrisley podcast host has continued to fight for her parents to return home. She even revealed to people earlier this year that she had plans to seek a pardon from Trump. Savannah had previously spoken to the Republican National Convention in 2024 in support of Trump and reflected on her parents' predicament in her speech. I know I'm going through the proper channels to do so, the Good Girl RX founder said. I'm going to bring as much awareness to it as possible that these things should not happen. Next, the Chrisley family is gearing up to star in an all-new documentary on Lifetime. People confirmed that the series, which succeeds USA Network's Chrisley Knows Best and Growing Up Chrisley, will see the broad, exposing raw truth of their lives, past and present, and the reality is different from the audience would have seen before. It doesn't currently have a release date, and it was originally set to feature the famed patriarchs. I don't know. I mean, if they did do what they were in trouble for, they deserve to be punished. But like I said, they were treated pretty badly in there. And then the last story on entertainment, Mary Lou Retton, our sweetheart of the Olympics, was arrested on DUI charges in West Virginia. That's sad. She's 57. According to the records from West Virginia magistrate court system, Retton, 57, was arrested on Saturday, May 17th, on one count of driving under the influence of alcohol, controlled substances, or drugs penalties. The Olympian was issued a personal recognized bond of $1,500, of which she posted the same day. That's really a shame. The Olympian, so they've reached out to the rep. It says her daughter McKenna Kelly announced that she was hospitalized October 2023. In her post, on her Instagram, which included a link to the Spot Fund page. My amazing mom, Mary Lou, has a very rare form of pneumonia and is fighting for her life. She is not able to breathe on her own. She's been in the ICU for over a week. Wait a minute here. Now I'm confused. She's been in the ICU for over a week now. Out of respect for her and her privacy, I will not disclose all the details. However, I will disclose that she is not insured. Oh, that's not good. In January 2024, the Dancing with the Star alumni told people that she was so sick that at one point during the month-long hospital stay, the doctors told her 4 daughters she might not make it. They prayed over me and McKenna and said, "Mommy, it's okay, you can go." I didn't have much of a relationship with my mother, but I can't imagine what that was like to watch her mom on the deathbed. Well, wait a minute. What's that got to do with her being drunk? While the former gymnast said that she pulled through because God wasn't ready for me yet, she felt she'd never be the same again. As she said, she relied on daily oxygen. It's really hard. My lungs are scarred. It will be a lifetime of recovery. My physicality was the only thing I had, and it was taken away from me, and it's embarrassing. Wow, that's really sad. I didn't read the whole thing, but now I gotta see what. Let's see what kind of money is in her Spot Fund page. I guess that's kind of like GoFundMe. Oh, well, I think she's going to be just fine. $50,000 goal. She made $459,354. I think she's going to be just fine. Jeez. Wow. Wow, that's so why was she drinking? She needs to stop drinking. That's crazy. All right, that's the end of the entertainment side. Now I got some other stuff to tell you if you're still with me. Got some pretty interesting stuff on this. How about Dieselgate? Have you ever heard of Dieselgate? Well, you're going to hear about it now. I never heard of Dieselgate either until this day. So what goes on is there's certain compliances that you have to make to stay within the law. And Volkswagen thought that they could cheat with Dieselgate. And what they did was they made a technology that allowed them to cheat the system. Checking to see if I have a link here to give you. Wait, maybe I could just pull it up on here. See if we can. See if Dieselgate comes up. Oh, there it is. Right there it is. So, this is so weird. I never would have thought that this would have been a big deal, but it turns out that it is. So they have a car that doesn't meet the regulations of the United States. So they make a device that tricks the gauges or the test that they use on diesel cars that it's legal. So what happened was the environmental agency looked at these. Okay, I'm going to look here. It says a German court convicted 4 of the former VW officials of fraud yesterday in the decade-old Dieselgate scandal. 2 executives working in engine technology received sentences of several years in prison. The others received suspended sentences. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency discovered the scandal in 2015, revealing that VW had installed so-called defeat devices in models dating back as far as 2009. The software-enabled vehicles to illegally pass diesel efficiency standards in controlled environments, while producing up to 40 times as much pollution in real-life driving conditions. And more than 11 million cars worldwide were impacted by the fraud, which engineers said they reenacted under time frame and budget constraints. The scandal cost VW $34 billion in fines and legal fees. It's thought to have expedited the global shift to battery cars. Before 2015, diesel cars accounted for over half the European market. They now make up less than 10% of the market. So the issue is that, they said that they were complying, but they weren't. So they end up being fined the money, and some people end up going to jail for it. So it's kind of a shame that a company as big as VW would be doing this. You kind of think that the big boys would play by the rules, but that's not the case. That company, I mean, they make good cars. Everyone knows they make good cars. So, but they didn't play by the rules. What time have we got here? Gotta see if we have. Okay, we still have time. Good. There was, back when I was a kid, or when I was younger, I think, there's a Netflix documentary on the Tylenol murderers. They landed the suspect of the Tylenol murderer for a Netflix docuseries. It helps when he loves attention, says the documentary. In 1982, taking acetaminophen was a little bit like playing Russian roulette. 7 people died after ingesting cyanide-laced extra-strength Tylenol capsules. And to this day, the feds never nailed the culprit. In 2025, the cold case of the Tylenol murderers documentarians got their man, or at least the Netflix filmmakers got the FBI's lone suspect, James Lewis, to speak at great length on camera. It was producer Molly Forster who landed Lewis. She's given the task to get him, and she brought him. She's the best at this, according to the executive producer. So in 2022, journalists camped out at Lewis' lawn, hoping to get a soundbite from him. It was Forster who got him to open up the front door. She promised Lewis he'd get to tell his full story, a promise she reiterated over the next year. You're a human being, Forrest pitched. We want to talk to you as a human being, even if you did all this stuff, even if you laced these pills with cyanide, they wanted to know. She sort of got his trust. There's no doubt that Lewis abandoned as a baby by his parents and has done some horrible stuff. But we've never gotten what we've never got proven, and still hasn't, is whether Lewis did this horrible stuff. The weird thing about this is that even though they talked to him, he never really got in trouble for doing this stuff. So he got away with it. I don't know what his motivation was, but I do remember this stuff. I remember as a kid being kind of scared by what was going on. And I didn't understand. I couldn't understand why somebody would intentionally kill people like this. Because it's not someone you know. It's not someone you have anything against. It's a company. I do understand that, because if I had a chance to do something to Johnson and Johnson, I probably would, because I really hate them, because they, aren't good. I mean, drug companies as a whole aren't good, but Johnson and Johnson basically killed Pat. So, and for those of you that don't know, she was during a hysterectomy given Energel, which scars your insides. It's meant as an adhesion barrier. And was defective, and she was given it twice, and it just basically scarred her insides and caused her a lot of pain for the 12 years that followed. So I understand if you wanted to get revenge on a company for doing that. But to get revenge on people you don't even know is something really I don't understand. So anyway, Foster and Lewis, and through osmosis, Gwendolen, and through further osmosis, Pines and Lewis ended up having a really intimate rapport. There was one other factor that certainly didn't hurt. As you can see on the show, he loves attention, but he never gave an interview because he was so cautious. One thing that Lewis has never been accused of is being dumb or probably being a good dude, though never charged in his actual Tylenol killings. Lewis was convicted of extortion for sending a letter to Tylenol maker Johnson & Johnson for taking responsibility for the deaths and demanding $1 million to stop them. Lewis said later that his letter was an attempt to point authorities to his wife's former boss. He got a 10-year sentence. Years earlier, in 1978, Lewis was in charge in the murders of Raymond West, who had hired Lewis as an accountant, and the poor police work killed any chance of a conviction. 1983, Lewis was convicted of mail fraud. Another time, he was accused of aggravated rape, but the alleged victim chose not to go through with the case. In other words, Lewis knew there was a lot of opportunity to slip up during the interview. There was something in him that wanted to say what he wanted to say for many years. Having people basically trying to get you for 40 years, I guess, makes you want to talk and enjoy the attention. Shortly after the interview, Lewis died. It would have been cool to get a confession on tape, the dream of every documentarian. But there's a difference between Durst and Lewis. Jim is not the only suspect in this case. We don't know for sure that he's responsible. Roger Arnold, a dock worker who admitted to possessing potassium cyanide, also was investigated by the police. So we didn't do this interview to get a confession out of Lewis, but to really confront him about all the hard questions about this case and other cases. And he was a suspect in the past. It was not for lack of trying, and of course, Gwendolen and Pines had already proven their work's worth in the legal system. Gwendolen and Pines had the duo behind The Shadow of Truth, a documentary about the 2006 murder of a 13-year-old Israeli girl whose body was found in a school bathroom. Roman Zandro, a Ukrainian immigrant who had worked at the school, was arrested and convicted. Well, he was convicted until Gwendolen and Pines came along. The 4-part Shadow of Truth, acquired by Netflix, resulted in a retrial by Zandero, who was ultimately acquitted and released. True crime documentaries do have a lot of power to change reality. Pine said they could achieve every important They can achieve very important things. So the cold case, the Tylenol murders, is now on Netflix, so you can find out what they found out. I'm probably going to watch it because I'm curious. I do remember when that was going on, and I do remember how scared it made me to um, take those kind of meds, those kind of pills, because you don't know. There's no way to know that it's legit. So, uh, then this one was interesting. It's been 5 years since George Floyd, after the killing of George Floyd. It's crazy. Time flies when you think about this. 5 years ago, George Floyd, a 46-year-old black man, died after a white police officer, Derek Chauvin, pinned him to the ground with his knee for 9 minutes and 29 seconds outside a corner store in Minneapolis. Floyd's death kicked off global movement in response to anger at a racial injustice and police brutality. However, some changes that followed his death, the legacy of George Floyd himself, face an uncertain future as many Americans look back at diversity, equality, and inclusion. DEI initiatives at institutions nationwide. Why does it matter? Floyd died on May 25th, 2020, with national protests breaking out in response to his death. In the wake of these protests, the United States underwent a series of changes, including a greater focus on police accountability and reform, which I think actually was a good thing. This led to practices as the wider use of body cameras on officers and review of the footage, as well as several court cases re-examining the extent of protection officers receive. There's a YouTube channel. It's civilattorneys.com or something, but they take the police cameras and they show you the injustice, some of the people that got injustices, people that were arrested wrongly, and these people are now taking part of trying to make sure that doesn't happen again. And I find that really kind of interesting because a lot of these things, as you watch the camera, now I'm sure that they're edited in a way that is always going to side with the person that's the people that edit it try to make it look worse than it may already be, but maybe they don't. I mean, maybe they don't edit it that way. They show the different cameras and the different angles and get to hear people saying things that really are not really good. I'll tell you the name of that channel because I started watching it because it caught my interest because they talk about being wrongly arrested for things, and everybody has to be worried about that kind of thing. Let's see if it's on my main page or if it was on my main page, so that's why I'm just curious about that. That's not it, but that's one of the things that it would be. But it's really weird that we've heard about these things happening, and you say, well, that can't be real. That can't be really what happened. And then we find out that is really actually what happened. By the way, the interview with me that's like an hour and a half long is on the Untitled podcast. Oh, here it is. The Civil Rights Lawyer is what it's called. This is the Civil Rights Lawyer. Now, this guy, here you go. Secret history of the bad cop who arrested a brain-damaged driver for being too slow. Cops show up at a yard sale, detains man on his porch for 45 minutes without a warrant. Man films a traffic stop exposing widespread racial profiling. 30% of black drivers searched. Those are some of the videos. Cop shows up at wait, that's wait a minute, hold on. Oh, here we go. Cops arrest. This was unreal. Cops arrest a paraplegic in a wheelchair for kicking down a door and beating up a woman. This woman couldn't. She was saying when the cop said, "Well, where did he go? Where did he go?" Oh, well, he just ran away. He didn't run away. He's in a wheelchair. He doesn't have any muscle tone below his waist, and they had him in handcuffs, and they know that he's a paraplegic, and they arrested him, and they tricked him in showing up at the freaking police station, and he's in a wheelchair. He's been in a wheelchair for 20 years, and they arrested him because he kicked down the lady's door. He didn't kick down the lady. He would have had to run into it with his wheelchair. I mean, these things are ridiculous. Employee arrested for supposedly stealing something from work, and as he's being taken out of the building, the guy finds the box, and it was where it was supposed to be. I mean, these things. This is just unheard of. These idiots. I don't understand. I mean, when I saw this one I'll play part of this one here, because this one was just unheard of.
When Samson entered their home and attacked them. Is this a joke? This woman called the cops and accused the guy of kicking in the door and assaulting her. So, what happened?
He kicked in the door. I he says no not.
The only problem with her story, the suspect has been a paraplegic in a wheelchair for 20 plus years.
How long have you been in the wheelchair? For 18.
Since you're 18? But the arresting officer just didn't care, and he attempted to arrest him anyways.
So, I don't have nothing to
When the main officer stepped in and questioned what was happening,
you realize that
the door was kicked down. He went to his lieutenant. He couldn't bother to get up off of his chair, but quickly accused the 100% innocent man who went back the paraplegic of lying.
So, I mean, it's an argument that you never take it from somebody who's so clearly innocent, and you take so many months to establish it, and nobody was going to do it.
I mean, how could he? I mean, I would have thrown that woman in jail just for making the accusation, because he obviously is not the person. And in fact, I don't know what she was doing. She had to be on drugs, or he apparently had dated her before he was a paraplegic 18 years ago or 20 years ago or whatever it was, and he didn't even remember her. She remembered his name and stuff, but this guy was clearly not the person that she said he kicked down the door and beat her up and ran away. And just when I heard the ran away thing, I'm like, what? You can't be even thinking that's the right person. And so that civil rights lawyer stepped in and took, but he's got all kinds of civil rights stuff like this that is happening on a regular basis. And why would you even fall for this whole thing with him, especially because he's obviously paraplegic, and he's married, has a wife of I don't know how many years, but it's been years, like 18 years or something, and he even has a kid. I mean, he is not the person. And yet the cop didn't do his due diligence. He just, oh, I got him. I tricked him into coming into the place. That was just ridiculous. That kind of stuff just irritates the living daylights out of me that he didn't get arrested and put away for this false accusation. Because you can really ruin somebody's life on an accusation like this. Oh, and would you stop it? Stop moving my hand. Stop. Lay down. Sit. Sit. Thank you. But things like that it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that this should have even happened. They should have put her away for forever, just for something like that. Because you're ruining somebody's life over something that didn't even happen. I just don't get it. But anyway, all right. Well, that's I guess that'll be the last thing. It's after 10, so we'll close it saying thank you for listening to the show, watching the show, enjoying the show, hopefully enjoying the show. And will figure out what page I'm on. There we go. There it is. It had to be there somewhere. Now I got to find out where it's at. There it is. I will talk to you guys next week.